You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Bay Area rescue dogs deployed to flood-ravaged Texas. How these dogs have been trained to help in the wake of disasters.
They're working in very, very difficult terrain along the riverbank where you have the debris flows, mud, etc.
Plus, we will meet the Bay Area residents trying to get their neighborhood designated as an historical landmark.
And it's talking about, it details so much of the history of Ingleside Terrace.
What critics say there is an ulterior motive and a step toward justice more than half a century in the making. How local leaders are making amends to people who were once driven out of their thriving East Bay community.
I'm still kind of ticked off about it, yes. It's a start.
Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to have those stories and lots more coming up right after our news headlines. Trash continues to pile up in several Bay Area cities. This is a look at a trash drop-off site near the Union City BART station at 11th Street and Dakota Road today. People are just dumping their own trash there. You can see the garbage piling up in the parking lot. That is because workers with Republic Services are still off the job in solidarity with 40 striking workers in Stockton who are seeking better wages and working conditions. Over the weekend, some cities opened more drop-off sites. Substitute drivers from states like Texas and Colorado are helping out, but they can't cover every area just yet. Meantime, customers are left to deal with their own trash.
Had to dodge trash and trash cans, and things are starting to blow around and get loose. So I suspect that animals are getting into it at night. Let's take care of our workers and the people who take care of us, doing the work that many of us are unwilling to do.
Negotiations have resumed to try to resolve the labor dispute. 2 people drowned in separate incidents on the Russian River this weekend. One of them was a teenager. The drownings were an hour apart, one at Martinelli Beach in Forestville and the other at Monterey Beach. Deputies say at Monterey, the report came in just before 3 yesterday afternoon that 2 juveniles were struggling in the water. Bystanders were able to rescue one of them, but could not get to the second one. And 20 minutes later, first responders found the teen's body underwater. Then at around 4 p.m., the second drowning happened at Martinelli Beach.
The water currents can change quickly, the depths can change quickly, and what seems like easy, placid water in one spot could be rushing or deep, much, much deeper.
We are still waiting for authorities to release the names of the people who drowned. A lot of questions after a deadly police shooting in North San Jose. Police say officers were investigating a stabbing at Cataldi Park just after 3 yesterday afternoon and ended up shooting and killing a suspect. We're still waiting to find out what led up to that shooting. We're told no officers were hurt. And we've learned a UC Berkeley professor was killed while visiting Greece. According to the Daily Cal, a masked attacker shot and killed Prishi Isla Zomi, a marketing professor at the Haas School of Business, on July 4th. He had taught there since 2018. Giziorski is survived by his 2 children. He was 43 years old. All right, let's get a check on our first alert forecast. Brand new week is upon us and a spread of temperatures all across the Bay Area today. Here's meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Throughout this afternoon today, all of our microclimates are doing something different. We have 90s off into the East Bay this afternoon from Antioch all the way over into Livermore. 70s today up into wine country from Napa over the hills into Sonoma and then stretched all the way up into Santa Rosa too. And then all the way into San Francisco this afternoon, we have 60s in store for us. But the more south you go along 101 into Redwood City, and then eventually all the way into San Jose, we jump from the 70s all the way into the 80s as we make our way into the Santa Clara Valley throughout this afternoon, with 90s the more south we go as we stretch all the way down into Morgan Hill. Let's talk about a couple different things going on for us this week. The air quality currently sitting in a good category. It's going to flirt between good and moderate throughout the afternoon hours today, especially in our inland areas. So if you're sensitive to that pollutant matter, just be careful throughout the afternoon hours. Continue to hydrate throughout the afternoon and limit your time outside if you are sensitive to it. Into the afternoon hours we go. We're gearing up for winds to kick up all the way up to around 20 to 30 miles per hour at times in areas like Fairfield, stretched all the way back to the coast, in areas like San Francisco as well. We'll keep a close eye on those winds, but let's talk about the next 7 days. There's some big changes right around the corner, mostly for our inland areas. For our friends along the bay, we're seeing 60s each day until Thursday. Cloudy mornings, those clouds pulling back along the coast into the afternoon hours, exposing us to plenty of sunshine. And we're going to get plenty of sunshine each day into our inland spots, too. Take a look at this forecast. 80s today, jump down to 70s tomorrow. Said 10-degree difference within one day alone. And then we hold on tight to those 70s for one more day into Wednesday before we gradually start to warm back into the mid-80s as we head into this weekend's forecast. We'll keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center. For now, back to you.
Thanks, Jess. Now to the deadly floods in central Texas. The region is recovering from another round of heavy rain over the weekend, really complicating things. That storm triggered a new round of flash flood warnings and forced rescue crews to stand down. Rivers overflowed, swamping neighborhoods and sending people running for safety. Crews pulled back as the conditions grew too dangerous, with dozens still missing from the catastrophic July 4th floods and the storm slowing the efforts to find them.
I was like, please, Lord, just don't let it rain. Let these guys get out here and just, have a good day and help them find people and bring these families peace.
That was the first time search efforts were stopped for severe weather. The flash flooding earlier this month killed at least 132 people, and in Kerr County alone, officials believe more than 160 are still missing. Among those still missing is Marin County's Walker family. Mark, his wife Sarah, and their 14-year-old son Johnny, last known to be staying at a house along the Guadalupe River. The couple's daughter Ellie was rescued at summer camp there and is safe. The California Urban Search and Rescue Team Task Force is in Texas to try to find human remains. The task force is from the Bay Area. Our Suji Nam has the story of one first responder and his 6-year-old lab.
Seconds.
So my dog is alerting on live human scent.
All it takes is mere seconds for Kylo, a 6-year-old Labrador retriever, to find a live human trapped in piles of debris. Kylo is a FEMA-certified Type 1 disaster dog, trained to detect live human scent.
As you can see, these rubble piles are very technical. They're very dangerous. Things move, and the dogs have to have very, very high strength and agility and drive to continue to do this work.
Brandon Bond, a canine search specialist with the California Urban Search and Rescue Team Task Force 3, is Kylo's handler.
You ready? Go search.
He has been training him since Kylo was 8 weeks old.
It's always been a drive and a passion to me to serve my fellow citizens. I became a firefighter EMT when I was 19 years old and have worked in various lanes within emergency services.
Bond is also the emergency manager for the city of Menlo Park. He and Kylo are a part of a rigorous team of first responders making up this FEMA task force.
Search and rescue, shut up if you can hear me.
And under this group, 6 local first responders and 2 Labradors have been deployed to Texas.
One of the first things that they needed to do was acclimate the dogs to the weather. It's 95 degrees, humidity, and they're working in very, very difficult terrain along the riverbank where you have the debris flows, mud, etc.
While Kylo is trained to detect live human scent, the 2 canines on the grounds in Texas detect human remains.
The sooner we get this search and rescue portion done, then the rebuilding and the real recovery can start taking place.
Deputy Fire Chief Dan Coyle of the Menlo Park Fire Protection District says his agency is a sponsor of one of 8 FEMA teams in California. Their firefighters are working around the clock in Texas to help families find their loved ones.
Eventually, many of these incidents that we end up going to have passed the rescue stage and are in the recovery stage. And so we understand the work is difficult, and it's important, though, to try to give whatever sense of closure, if that's even possible, to the families that may have lost people.
And canines like Kylo are there to help. He has been trained to find the strongest source of live human scent that they cannot access. So I hid myself in some debris, away from Kylo's view. And within seconds, he found me.
And then when they hit that, they're trained to do what's called a focus bark alert, where they will sit here and bark, 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 bark until the handler can get to the dog, reward the dog, and then mark that location so then the search team can then start the heavy rescue side of things.
Canines like Kylo are critical to helping save a life and helping families with answers. And it's this collaborative effort of human and dog, fueled by the passion to serve, that makes all the difference during times of devastating natural disasters.
And if you want to help the people affected by the devastating floods in Texas, you can scan that QR code there on your screen. That'll take you to a list of organizations helping people on the ground. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, some neighbors hoping their community can earn historic status.
I think there's a balance that needs to be made.
This has a cost, right? This affects the next generation of San Franciscans.
The battle that will help shape the future of the city. Plus, a long-awaited step toward justice for families forced out of a once thriving community in the East Bay more than 60 years ago. We'll introduce you to a former resident who says the financial relief is long overdue.
It also means that the powers to be now want to make amends for what was done in the past.
And this annual tradition is much more than just a barbecue, how it connects the Bay Area community to its past.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
We're gearing up for 60s in the forecast today along the bay with cool and cloudy mornings, pulling back along the coast as we head into this afternoon. We're going to see some sunnier skies, especially off into our inland spots. 60s will flirt with some 70s as we head into this midweek forecast by Thursday. And then as you head all the way over into our inland areas, we're already holding on tight to 80s today, but we'll see a return to the 70s as we head into our forecast tomorrow. A 10-degree jump from today all the way into our Tuesday setup. We hold on tight to 70s for one more day before we get that gradual warming trend diving into this weekend's forecast.
At least 9 people died in a fire at an assisted living facility in Massachusetts. Firefighters say flames and smoke filled Gabriel House late last night, with people hanging out of windows, yelling for help. Happened in the town of Fall River near the Rhode Island state line. More than 30 people from the home were taken to the hospital, and investigators now working to determine where and how that fire started. 2 wildfires burning out of control right now at the Grand Canyon. Officials say one of the fires destroyed at least 80 buildings, including the historic Grand Canyon Lodge. That is the only lodging inside the park at the North Rim. Another fire has grown to almost 20 times its size in just 5 days. The North Rim is closed because of those wildfires. The sky-high cost of housing in San Francisco continues to surge. That is according to a new report from the SF Business Times that found that the median sale price for single-family homes and condos in the city was about $1.76 million in the second quarter of 2025. That is an 8.5% jump from the first 3 months of the year. For decades, San Francisco homeowners have petitioned city government for historic status. But a new trend is gaining momentum. Entire neighborhoods asking for historic landmark designations. Kara St. Cyr explains the uptick is happening as Mayor Daniel Lurie pushes to build more housing in the city.
This is our house right here. And so this is the original, this is on Moncada.
Built in 1912, Ann Sunby's Craftsman home is Ingleside Terrace's personal time capsule.
We found the business card of the developer.
Sunby has taken great measures to preserve her home's history.
House history.
Going as far as getting it listed as a historical landmark.
Oh, and here's the article about the cross. Yeah, that's him. That's Cecil Poole and his daughter.
But she wants that status extended to the entire neighborhood. Now facing pressure from a new zoning law, timing is critical.
And it's talking about, it details so much of the history of Ingleside Terrace.
Mayor Daniel Lurie's zoning plan would build hundreds of residential buildings near public transit sites, a move meant to curb the city's housing shortage. Ingleside Terraces could see 6 to 8-story buildings on its outskirts.
It's really along Ocean Avenue. Along here is where the rezoning plan wants to plan for growth.
Richard Sucre with the San Francisco Planning Commission says a landmark designation wouldn't stop those buildings from going up, but it could slow the process.
Historic designation basically means that rather than using the expedited programs that the state has provided for us, we must just go through the regular process.
Other neighborhoods like St. Francis Wood have already been designated as historical landmarks, but pro-housing groups like YIMBY Action criticize these designations. Jane Natoli, a spokesperson for the group, calls it a tactic to stop housing.
This has a cost, right? This affects the next generation of San Franciscans. Where will they live? Will they be able to access these neighborhoods? And the answer for a long time has been no.
But Sunby doesn't see it that way.
I think there's a balance that needs to be made.
And her neighborhood is willing to fight to create the balance they're looking for.
Along with Ingleside Terrace, a proposal for historic status in San Francisco's North Beach neighborhood right now is under review. The state has ordered San Francisco to add 82,000 new homes by 2031 or face serious consequences. San Francisco's Salesforce Tower could be overshadowed by an even larger skyscraper in the coming years. The proposed project would take up an entire city block, replacing PG&E's old headquarters at 77 Beale Street. Hines, the company that helped develop the Salesforce Tower, says it is looking to build a 1,225-foot building that would make it 155 feet taller than Salesforce Tower, which replaced the Transamerica Pyramid as the city's tallest skyscraper 7 years ago. The project would include office buildings, retail space, restaurants, and a public garden. We asked some people in the neighborhood for their thoughts on the proposal. And while they had differing opinions, a shared concern is what that building would look like.
I mean, it could be good. It depends how it's architecturally designed, if it's more interesting, if it has a park around it.
I think a lot of the architecture is really ugly. I like more of a Italian Renaissance feel for buildings.
Another concern is the amount of buildings right now sitting empty across the city. San Francisco has the highest vacancy rate in the country, nearly 35%. That is according to real estate company CBRE. A long-awaited step toward justice may soon become reality for families forced out of their homes in a once thriving community in Alameda County. We're talking about Russell City. It was an enclave of Black and Latino families located in what is now part of Hayward. But what used to be a farm community is now mostly industrial space. Now a new reparations fund could send money straight to people who were impacted. Arlen Ramirez spoke with one man whose family was displaced over 60 years ago.
James Knowles holds a map of Russell City, but it doesn't just show the geographic location. It documents who and where the hundreds of Black, Latino, and immigrant families lived, including the Knowles family.
This was a cousin that lived right next door.
Russell City once stood as a symbol of resilience and community until it was wiped off the map in the 1960s.
I'm still kind of ticked off about it, yes.
James says his family owned two properties. One was their home and the other an auto repair shop his father ran. His family lost both when, in the name of urban development, Russell City was bulldozed to make way for an industrial park. Residents were forcibly removed, many given little compensation, if any, and wiping out family finances.
I had to pay for my own college education. I went in debt. But at that time, I had to start working at $14.50 just to make ends meet and to get things that I needed. Whereas others didn't have to do that. They had, like I said, generational wealth that passed on from grandparents to parents to kids and to their kids.
Now, after decades of advocacy, the Alameda County Board of Supervisors in the city of Hayward are expected to approve a $900,000 reparations fund. The money would go directly to surviving families of Russell City.
We want to try to correct an injustice that was done in the past. And then as a result of that injustice, not just has it impacted people emotionally and mentally, but it's had a financial impact on them because they were never compensated for that loss.
Supervisor Nate Miley's office is adding $250,000 to the fund, and Supervisor Elisa Marquez's office is adding $400,000.
And obviously we will never be able to provide enough compensation to totally repair the harm. And this is greater than being symbolic because it will be a cash payment to individuals that qualify.
Knowles says the loss devastated his family both emotionally and financially. His father never reopened his shop, and his parents split partially over the financial stress they endured. But he's glad something is finally happening.
It's a start. It's a huge start. It also means that the powers to be now want to make amends for what was done in the past, which is a blessing.
Supporters say the fund comes at a crucial time. Many of the original Russell City residents are now elderly or have already passed away. James left Russell City as a young teenager and is now in his 70s. And for him, it's not just about the past, it's about the legacy he hopes the reparations effort will leave behind.
Officials in Hayward say the task force is still putting together details like the amount for each potential payment and the final eligibility requirements. That will all be announced at a later date. We are remembering a well-known figure in the Bay Area music scene. One of the visionaries behind Yoshi's in Oakland has died. Kaz Kajimura co-founded the legendary jazz club back in 1972. He's helped grow Yoshi's from a small Berkeley restaurant into a world-class venue in Jack London Square, hosting jazz legends for decades, according to a statement on Yoshi's website. He had Alzheimer's. He was 81 years old. A public memorial and concert will be held tonight at 7:30 at Yoshi's. Still ahead, a tradition that has lasted 70 years in a Bay Area community. How this barbecue brought people from all backgrounds together in a town that persevered a painful history.
But everybody was friends, and nobody could understand why the Japanese were getting hauled away.
And we're going to see sunshine in our inland spots, still cool and cloudy along our shoreline, where winds will get a little bit gustier into this afternoon as well. San Francisco today, just around lunchtime, getting up to around 20 to 25 mile per hour wind gust. We see that same influence into the evening hours tonight in some of our inland spots like Fairfield, Napa, all the way over into Concord and Fremont too. Let's drop this real fast and show you the next 7 days. There's some changes right around the corner for us, starting off in our inland spots, a 10-degree difference from today all the way into our Tuesday forecast in our inland areas like the East Bay and the Santa Clara Valley. And then we hold on tight to 70s for another day before we slowly start to warm back up into the 80s heading into this weekend's forecast. It's cool. It's gray out there right now behind me at the Bay Bridge. You head over into the Bay forecast. Places like San Francisco and across the Bay Bridge into Oakland are mostly holding on tight to upper 60s today and tomorrow. We'll see some low 70s kind of flirt in there this week, but it is a very mild forecast for us in this week's forecast setup. We see gustier winds into the afternoon hours, daytime highs topping off in the 60s. Great days to get out there, get some exercise, maybe go play some pickleball.
Well, this weekend marked the 70th anniversary of a tradition in the North Bay, the Imanji Teriyaki Barbecue in Sebastopol. And as John Ramos reports, the community gathering is a time to learn lessons from the past.
This is not the first time in American history where immigrants were treated with suspicion and sent to detention camps. It happened to the Japanese back in World War II. But to its credit, the town of Sebastopol never abandoned its sense of community, and it persists to this very day. Each year, the Enmanji Buddhist Temple in Sebastopol welcomes thousands of their neighbors for a barbecue chicken dinner with a Japanese flair. And a family secret, the teriyaki sauce that is sprayed on the 1,200 chickens roasting over the giant coal pits. Brent Ono can't even remember how many years he's been cooking here.
I lost count on what. So my dad's third generation, I'm fourth generation, then my brother is fourth generation. So we've been here for as long as we can stand up at the pit. They say it's one of the best barbecues around, so I guess it's an honor to keep cooking.
And don't bother asking for the recipe, although many have tried.
Developed by my two grandfathers.
And it's a big secret, right?
It is a secret, and you're not going to find out. It was so good that Kikkoman asked for rights to it, and they refused. And soon thereafter, Kikkoman developed their own, but it's different.
Julaine Leach is co-chair of the event, and it's clear that she either knows or is related to just about everyone in the crowd. For a gathering of nearly 5,000 people, there is a distinct family atmosphere, and it all seems to center around the Temple building, originally built for the 1934 Chicago World's Fair.
And after the World's Fair, they dismantled it, put it on flatbeds, and brought it here to Sebastopol.
Local residents even helped reconstruct it. But after all the Japanese Americans were rounded up for internment in 1941, some vandals tried to set fire to the building. There's still one burn mark visible if you look closely. But then something extraordinary happened. A group of teenagers from the high school showed up to protect the building.
They encircled the temple for, I think it was 2 weeks after that happened, because those were friends of the peoples that had to leave here, and they were Catholics and Christians and Jews, but everybody was friends, and nobody could understand why the Japanese were getting hauled away.
Is there a lesson in that for us today?
Yes, love each other every day.
It's a lesson that many of the returning Japanese residents took to heart, including Julaine's dad, Martin, now 94 years old.
We're accepted as people, not just somebody to put to work. Because you could become whatever you wanted to be, not just a worker, makes a difference.
And the community still feels a sense of pride over that.
The tragedy of the internment is a legacy that, it's a sad legacy that we as Americans carry with us, but the Japanese American community overcame that. This town protected those properties and this temple.
80 years have passed since the war ended, and now everyone can gather for a meal and feel like family. The fear and suspicion now seems irrational, and perhaps that's also something to keep in mind today.
The teriyaki barbecue was suspended for 3 years because of the COVID pandemic, but while it is smaller now than what it once was, it has been growing in size every year since. Coming up in the next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, it's been nearly 2 weeks since a local flea market shut down. So why are these vendors still setting up shop?
We don't want to leave. We have to stay here forever.
Plus, it looks like salmon and tastes like salmon, but it comes from a lab. We'll show you one startup solution to California's salmon shortage.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for staying with us this Monday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here is another look at some of our news headlines. Trash continues piling up in several Bay Area cities. This is a look at a nasty trash drop-off site near the Union City BART station, 11th Street and Dakota Road today. Workers with Republic Services continue walking off the job in solidarity with 40 striking workers in Stockton who are seeking better wages and working conditions. Substitute drivers are coming in from states like Texas and Colorado, but they just can't cover all those areas just yet. Negotiations have resumed to try to resolve the labor dispute. 2 people drowned in separate incidents in the Russian River yesterday. One was at Martinelli Beach in Forestville, the other at Monterey Beach. Deputies say at Monterey, a report came in just before 3 yesterday afternoon that 2 young people were struggling in the water. Bystanders rescued one of them but could not get to the second. And about 20 minutes later, first responders found the teen's body underwater. Then at around 4 p.m., the second drowning happening at Martinelli Beach. Neither victim has been identified at this time. And we have learned that a UC Berkeley professor was killed while visiting Greece. According to the Daily Cal, a masked attacker shot and killed Precislaw Ziolski, a marketing professor at the Haas School of Business, on July 4th. He had taught there since 2018. Ziolski is survived by his 2 children. He was 43 years old. All right, time to get another check in our first alert forecast this Monday. Here is meteorologist Jessica Birch.
Throughout this afternoon today, all of our microclimates are doing something different. We have 90s off into the East Bay this afternoon from Antioch all the way over into Livermore. 70s today up into wine country from Napa over the hills into Sonoma and then stretched all the way up into Santa Rosa too. And then all the way into San Francisco this afternoon, we have 60s in store for us. But the more south you go along 101 into Redwood City, and then eventually all the way into San Jose, we jump from the 70s all the way into the 80s as we make our way into the Santa Clara Valley throughout this afternoon, with 90s the more south we go as we stretch all the way down into Morgan Hill. Let's talk about a couple different things going on for us this week. The air quality currently sitting in a good category. It's going to flirt between good and moderate throughout the afternoon hours today, especially in our inland area. So if you're sensitive to that pollutant matter, just be careful throughout the afternoon hours. Continue to hydrate throughout the afternoon and limit your time outside if you are sensitive to it. Into the afternoon hours we go. We're gearing up for winds to kick up all the way up to around 20 to 30 miles per hour at times in areas like Fairfield, stretched all the way back to the coast, and areas like San Francisco as well. We'll keep a close eye on those winds, but let's talk about the next 7 days. There's some big changes right around the corner, mostly for our inland areas. For our friends along the bay, we're seeing 60s each day until Thursday. Cloudy mornings, those clouds pulling back along the coast into the afternoon hours, exposing us to plenty of sunshine. And we're going to get plenty of sunshine each day into our inland spots too. Take a look at this forecast. 80s today, jump down to 70s tomorrow. Said 10-degree difference within 1 day alone. And then we hold on tight to those 70s for one more day into Wednesday before we gradually start to warm back into the mid-80s as we head into this weekend's forecast. We'll keep you updated on that here in the Weather Center. For now, back to you.
It has been almost 2 weeks since the Berkeley flea market officially closed. The market's lease ended in June after more than 50 years at the Ashby BART station parking lot. But some vendors told our Doll In they are not giving up. They are determined to keep this historic market open.
17 vendors set up shop on Sunday at the Berkeley flea market. It's a far cry from the market's heyday when this entire parking lot was filled with stalls and shoppers. But those who remain say they're not going anywhere. Drumming up support for a struggling flea market and for the vendors who refuse to let it die. The Berkeley flea market officially closed on June 28th, but vendors like Ivy Yan say not so fast. The market is still alive and open for business.
I don't want to go out of market because we have to fight it and continue.
Ivy has been selling sunglasses here for 25 years, and while her profits have shrunk over time due to declining foot traffic, her love for Berkeley's lone flea market has only grown.
Very important for me. It's my life. Yeah, I see everybody and every weekend, and that's just really, feel like family.
Family and a community gathering spot. That's what this market has been for South Berkeley for more than half a century. We found old YouTube footage from 2008 showing a once vibrant marketplace. Hundreds of vendors and food trucks filled every inch of the Ashby BART parking lot. There was live music, dancing, and a drum circle, and it drew big crowds. Shopper Langusu Malanga remembers it well. She spent countless weekends here before moving to Seattle 5 years ago. She's back visiting with her son, and she's stunned by the changes.
I'm pretty sad to see that folks aren't out like they used to be, but we're here and we're going to shop a little bit and continue to just support the vendors that are here.
Like many things, the recession, online shopping, and the pandemic took a toll.
It's gone slowly downhill after the recession in 2008 and Amazon taking away a lot of our business.
With fewer customers, many vendors have left in recent years.
Yesterday was a reasonable day and I earned like $60. It's like, that's it.
The nonprofit that runs the market says it may negotiate a new lease with BART so the market can officially reopen. Right now, this operation is technically not legal, but so far BART has left the vendors alone. Vendors like Ivy say survival depends on spreading the word and bringing back customers.
We don't want to leave. We have to stay here forever.
The city of Berkeley and BART want to eventually turn this parking lot into affordable housing. The plan was to move the flea market to a nearby location, but right now, everything is in limbo.
So the vendors say that they plan to be at the parking lot every Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. until further notice. Well, pickleball has been growing in popularity over the years, and now in Martinez, some neighbors say the noise has gotten out of control. The Hidden Valley Park turned one tennis court into 8 pickleball courts back in February. Well, they put up a sound blanket on one side, but neighbors like Jason on the other side say it actually makes the sharp pops even worse.
Pickleball just has a really distinct popping sound, sharp popping sound, and it makes people nearby miserable. It's been really hard. We hear it in the morning, and then we hear it when we go to bed.
Now the city has posted new rules limiting play hours, tightening parking, and urging players to use quieter paddles. The city began a 90-day pilot program last month to see how well that works in addressing the concerns of homeowners. The salmon population crisis continues in the state of California. This is the third year without a commercial fishing season because of dwindling numbers. But now, as Suji Nam shows us, one San Francisco startup has come up with an alternative, and it just got FDA approval.
We're gonna try some wild-type salmon today.
It looks like salmon. It has a texture like salmon. But you may be surprised to hear that this isn't 100% salmon. Inside this former brewery in the San Francisco Dogpatch neighborhood.
One of the steel tanks was the original steel tank from the brewery.
Aria Elfenbein, the co-founder of Wildtype, shows us how their cell-cultivated salmon is grown right here.
One of the ways in which people sometimes describe this is lab grown, but truly it's not.
His team extracted cells from one salmon about 7 years ago and now replicates and cultivates them into plant-based salmon inside these steel tanks.
These are things like sugars, fats, proteins, the amino acids that then they use to make other proteins.
Producing cell-cultivated salmon can take weeks to even months, but now, with the recent FDA approval, Elfenbein is optimistic.
We never wanted to compete with conventional fishing or fish farming or even plant-based. We see this as a complementary approach. I think when there's such a shortfall of seafood every year.
Regina Chiquizola, the executive director of Save California Salmon, says the state is seeing historically low numbers of salmon.
It's like spring salmon, we're like 80 to 90% decline. And for like fall salmon, we're looking at about a 50% decline. And this is just like within the last 5 to 10 years.
She says polluted waters and dams in the ecosystem prevent the fish from surviving nor properly spawning. And while innovation is key to the future, she doesn't believe cell cultivation is the best step forward.
We're pretty opposed to genetically engineering or cell growing of salmon because they are a wild animal that are meant to use our rivers and our oceans.
Chiquizola says there is still hope in saving the salmon population organically.
Providing them clean water, getting them passage above dams to where their natal watersheds are.
But back here at the Wildtype Fishery, Elfenbein and co-owner Justin Kolbeck hope they can help pave the way for sustainable alternatives.
Something that could hopefully take some of the pressure off the oceans.
Salmon advocates and scientists all have the same goal of tackling California's salmon crisis, but they're all just approaching it from a different lens.
Well, Suji says it does taste like the real thing. Wildtype says a San Francisco restaurant partnership is in the works, and they're hoping to have their products in grocery stores as well. Coming up next, the Golden State Valkyries have packed Chase Center this season, but some fans say there's something still missing on game day. We're going to talk to them about how they're building traditions that will last long into the future.
In the Bay Area, a new WNBA franchise is taking flight. Catch this first-in-a-lifetime inaugural season as the Golden State Valkyries play live on KPIX and Pix Plus.
We're gearing up for 60s in the forecast today along the bay with cool and cloudy mornings, pulling back along the coast as we head into this afternoon. We're going to see some sunnier skies, especially off into our inland spots. 60s will flirt with some 70s as we head into this midweek forecast by Thursday. And then as you head all the way over into our inland areas, we're already holding on tight to 80s today, but we'll see a return to the 70s as we head into our forecast tomorrow. A 10-degree jump from today all the way into our Tuesday setup. We hold on tight to 70s for one more day before we get that gradual warming trend diving into this weekend's forecast.
Well, the Valkyries finally back at Chase Center tonight. They're taking on the Phoenix Mercury. That game is going to air live on Pix Plus 44 Cable 12. Our coverage starts at 6:30. Fans have been packing Chase Center for the Valkyries' inaugural season, but some of them told our Kelsey Thor there is one thing missing on game day.
We're only about halfway through the Valkyries' inaugural season, but Valhalla has already made its mark on the league.
And as soon as you walk down the stairs, just everyone's so electric.
And it's not just the play on the court that's created that electric atmosphere. Fans are also loving the different in-arena traditions the team is making.
I like the GSV drum.
Here we go, Megan! Come on, fans! From chanting to dancing. This season, the Valkyries introduced their very own multi-generational dance team, the Violet Vibes.
It's like older women and men dancing with little kids and they be rocking. They get it.
But of all the in-arena entertainment, the pre-fourth quarter roll call seems to take the cake.
I need to know, is Sacramento in the house?
When everyone puts on their flashlights, and the whole arena's lit up and everyone's just into the atmosphere and the energy.
There is just one thing, though, fans are still yearning for.
We need a mascot here because the electricity and the energy in there it matches Brooklyn. The only thing is they have alleys.
I just want the mascot to dance.
That's your only requirement.
That's my only requirement. Is the mascot dance.
To help with the vibe.
To help with the vibe, yes.
Yeah. The good news is that mascot is in the works. The Valkyries are hoping to debut it later this season.
Well, before the Valkyries, there was another women's pro basketball team that played here in the Bay Area, the San Francisco Pioneers. They played in the Women's Basketball League from 1979 to 1981. A reunion took place in San Francisco yesterday. Organizers and former Pioneer players came together to celebrate the past and present of women's b-ball in the Bay Area.
We were always wanting to be able to hand the ball down to a league, and here it is, WNBA. So I feel very good and proud that I'm able to see this event and see that this is happening in our women's sports today.
Organizers of the reunion say members of the Pioneers will be honored at the Valkyries game tonight. Again, Valkyries taking on the Phoenix Mercury tonight at Chase Center. Our pregame coverage begins live 6:30. Pix Plus 44 Cable 12. Coming up, a citywide scavenger hunt in San Francisco is underway. How the game got its start as a small experiment. If you've been walking around San Francisco, you might have seen these mysterious flyers pointing to something called The Pursuit. It's a citywide scavenger hunt. Our Laureen Ayub spoke with the pioneers behind it.
What happens when a couple of girlfriends take a break from their tech jobs to create a San Francisco scavenger hunt? Well, according to Athena Leong, one of the planners, it helps you pause and appreciate your surroundings.
We really wanted just a project that helps people get out and, go explore the city.
Spreading the word through flyers at places like South Park, the scavenger hunt, entitled Pursuit, started last year through a group of 15 friends. Now it's growing rapidly, and Athena believes it's because people desire simplicity and adventure.
I think it's so common for us to just go from point A to B between work and home. But, there's so much out there. Everyone should go explore.
And while Athena and her co-planner Danielle Egan definitely didn't quit their jobs to make this passion project a reality, they put forth a lot of effort during their free time to make it happen. All you have to do to participate is text a number.
So once you text the number, you are sent a confirmation message, and then on the day that we start the hunt, you're sent a link to a portal. And on this portal, you'll see like a bunch of badges. This year's theme is Scout themed. So you win different patches from completing different missions, and they drop over the course of a month.
With thousands expected to participate this year, Athena believes the free experience is a great opportunity to slow down and reconnect with the city.
There's a lot of beauty, a lot of history that's embedded in our surroundings, like in the buildings that we see, in little things that we don't realize. And I think it just makes life so much more wonderful when we're connected to our surroundings.
It's a light connection that keeps Athena and Danielle inspired with proof that a little curiosity goes a long way.
The scavenger hunt kicked off on Saturday. If you want to participate, you can join anytime between now and early August. Just text a number there on your screen, 415-888-9518, to get the clues. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your first alert forecast and another look at your top stories.